we made it to the Viva Las Vegas Rockabilly Festival. We're getting ready to go see Jerry Lee Lewis, and later on tonight we're going to see the Stray Cats. After we checked into our hotel room and Planet Hollywood on the Strip, it was pretty cool. We walked around the Strip for a little while. We were kind of tired. We both had pretty busy trips before we got to Vegas. So we got a good night's sleep, and then we hopped in an Uber and went over to the Orleans Hotel in Vegas, which is also very, very nice. It's kind of old style. And we went and checked in, and we got these fancy little wrist bracelets. Here they go, here they are for our festival. These are our passes. You have to wear them the whole weekend. They let you in. I had a little misfortune with mine, and apparently if you pull the little nub here after they put them on you, it tightens and it doesn't loosen. So I was fidgeting with mine, and I pulled it really tight on my wrist, and this little plastic thing here was kind of cutting into my wrist, and I tried pulling on it, I tried loosening it, it wouldn't loosen. So I went through the problems line, which was more like, we're not going to help you line, and I asked for them to either loosen it for me or to give me another one. Now let me point out that the Viva Las Vegas Festival is not a inexpensive experience. It's very expensive to get the full access pass. You know, of course, hubby is trying to pull on it to loosen it some. I'm hot and tired. We'd already had like 5 days of traveling the day before, and the fella's like, I can't help you. Yours is as tight as mine. Well, let me tell you something. His bracelet was not anywhere near as tight as mine. I could, like, he's like, I can get a finger under there. I couldn't even like pull it and get like my little teeny baby pinky under there. I was really getting frustrated, and he wouldn't help me, and finally I'm like, oh, you know, can you just find someone else that's gonna help me? And he's like, no, we're not gonna give you a new one. And I'm like, well, this is actually cutting into my skin, and it was leaving like little scratches on my wrist. And granted, it was my fault for fiddling with it, but they didn't kind of mention ahead of time to us that we shouldn't mess with them. So hubby wandered off because I was getting a little frustrated and kind of pissed off. And you know, I have two personalities. I have really kind of sweet and bubbly, and then I had kind of not so friendly and not so nice, especially when something's going terribly, terribly wrong. And in my world, that was terribly wrong because I still had 2 full days of wearing this bracelet, a day and a half at least, and yeah, it wasn't a good thing. And so he ends up cutting off my bracelet, which was kind of funny because he could barely get the scissors on to cut it, and I'm like, I told you so. At one point I was like moving my hand around, and I'm like, look, see, whenever I like move my hand, it gets really tight. And he's like, well, don't move your hand. And I'm like, wait a minute, just wait a minute. Think about what you just said to me. You just told me like I'm supposed to like hold myself still for like, you know, all this time, and there all this fun stuff's coming up. We're getting ready to go to concerts and to pool parties, and this is not working out. So eventually he cuts off my tag, and he goes to get a new one, and the girl's like, oh, we're all out of tags. So he comes back, and he's like, well, here, and he gives me kind of fun. I got a press pass instead of the regular one. I don't know if you can see that, which I'm not pressed, but anyway. So he gets that on there, and he's being kind of flippant with me, and he's like, well, I have to keep my finger under here so I can put it on so you can't get it off. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, go ahead, put it on, and I won't do, you know. So he puts it on, and then he's like, is that good enough for you now, miss? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's great, thanks. And then I immediately pulled one of my party tricks out, and I took it off. Because I can do that. And I flipped it to the other hand, and I told him thanks, have a great day, and I left. I was kind of annoyed though, because it really was bothering me, and again, I think he was kind of pissed that I flipped it off. But I do have the ability, like that's one of my I have like these really skinny little wrists, you can see them there, and I have the ability to kind of make my hand as skinny as my wrist and pull things off and on. I can get in and out of handcuffs really easily. Not that I've ever needed to. In a formal setting anyway, that is. Make sure to hit the bell at the bottom because this is a series of videos and you don't want to miss the next coming one.